In the winter of 2016, on the 14th of January, Arsenal completed a £7.4 million signing for a 23-year-old Egyptian midfielder in Mohamed Elneny from Swiss club FC Basel. And just 3 years after signing Elneny, he was then shipped out on loan to Turkish team Besiktas. And it was thought around the footballing world that his time at Arsenal, uneventful but solid, had come to an end as he was loaned out. But here we sit in 2023 when Mohamed Elneny has re-signed his contract with Arsenal to go until 2024. So why is that? Well, that's exactly what we will be discussing in today's video. So what's going on, everyone? You're listening to Gunner Central here. I hope you're all doing well. Before we get on to the video, I just want to say thank you so much for the support recently on the channel. It's been awesome. So happy to see fellow Gooners liking and sharing my content. But anyway, let's just get on to the topic at hand. Now, there are several reasons I believe that Elneny is still in the squad. We know now that we are past that holding of deadwood that we used to have under Wenger, a little bit under Emery. Arteta he means business. He no nonsense man. He comes in, he gets rid of the deadwood, as we've seen even with Rob Holding, who played a decent role last season for us, but he got shipped out straight away. So it makes you think, why is Elneny here? You know, he only played 8 games last season and he didn't start all of them neither. So what does Elneny provide Arsenal that makes him so critical to keep around the team? Well, I think one of the first points is quite the obvious one. He provides excellent squad depth. Obviously, he can play as a 6, he can play as an 8. You don't know what injuries is going to happen, especially now Champions League games. We're in the Premier League still. We want to be in the Premier League hunt. The 2 cups, obviously the FA Cup, Carabao Cup, we need as much squad depth as possible. And someone like Elneny doesn't really kick up a fuss if he's not playing every game. He's always there, he's always ready to play. And to be fair, sometimes when he does come in, he does more than a good enough job and he just holds it down for us. Yes, he's uninspiring. Yes, he doesn't come in and he puts a 10 out of 10 performances, but he's always solid. And 9 times out of 10, you can expect him to come in, calm the game down, and help Arsenal get across the line. So I think that's pretty the obvious one that I think everyone can assume is it's excellent squad depth that the Egyptian international brings for us. Another thing to look at, I think, is his experience that he brings into the team. You know, I think something that's overshadowed by a lot of other things and it's overlooked for sure, but I think he brings in so much experience. He's been playing Premier League football since 2016. He's been playing Champions League football since he was young. He's a really experienced player. He's come in a lot of games and he's helped see Arsenal through. He's played a lot of finals for us. Very experienced, and especially with the young team that we do have, the experience and the wisdom that Elneny seems to bring, even if it's just in the changing room, is so critical and so vital for a young team to do well. You always have these young teams like us last season that we crumbled and you kind of thought it was lack of experience. Maybe that was it, but I think when Elneny did play last season, he really showed up the midfield when he could. And he did his job, to be fair. So I do think he just brings a little more experience for the team and the club overall. I think another huge pointer, one of the main ones I think, is that he's very cost effective for what you get for him. Now, I don't know his exact wage. I don't think there's several reports that are conflicting, but what I think is undisputable is that for what we get from him, his wage is really cost effective. Essentially, in Elneny, Arsenal has maintained its midfield depth for next season and doesn't have to overpay to do so. You know, you have a lot of these players that are bench riders, but they command such a huge fee because of the club they play for. Elneny is not one of those. You know, unlike in previous years when astronomical, like massive amounts were paid to players only for them to sit on the bench, players like Ozil, Elneny is a player that's stepping in the right direction. These type of players are looked over. If you think, the first player that comes to mind for me when we're talking about a really good team that has players that are overlooked, he doesn't play often, but he really helps the team, he helps the club, he's experienced. It's a player like Nacho Fernandez from Real Madrid. He's really experienced, he knows Real Madrid, is from the academy. Now, Elneny is obviously not from our academy, but same sort of thing. He brings in that experience, he knows the club inside out, he knows how Arteta wants to work. He played with Arteta for a season, so you kind of think that the familiarity that Arteta has with Elneny also really helps to keep him in the club. Elneny is not your flashy player. He's not the flashy signing when you extend his contract. But like I said, I think it's a critical move that Arsenal did that's been overlooked. It's been completely overlooked. I'm very happy with it. If he's going to stay past this season, I don't know, because I think if he would have, we probably would have extended it by 2 years instead of 1. I don't know. I think it's his last year here. I think there's African Cup of Nations as well in January. But like I said, I think he's a critical player to have in a team that wants to push on all fronts, push in all competitions, and Elneny is going to help us to do so. Even if he plays marginal game time here and there, it's just, I think, what he can do for us behind the scenes and on the field if needed brings so much value to what we can do and what we want to do. Let me know in the comments though, guys, how you feel about Elneny. If you think it's time for him to go, if you're happy with him staying around in the club, and I'll see you guys in the next one.